All right. Just a couple of things and then we'll get started. One is we're all moving to Planning Center for our database. As far as signups for Encounter, they will still be in CBBB, DBCB, whatever it was.
CBB.
And so we don't have to worry about that. After that, all the payments and everything will be going through Planning Center. A couple things on Planning Center. For you guys that have, we all have high school small groups. That's how we'll be doing our attendance stuff through that. The cool thing is it sends out an email to your small group leader at any time of the evening that you want that to go out to them. And all they do is click on it, open it, and they just click, 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 and hit send, and it's all in the system. Okay, any thoughts? We're going to get trained on that, I think, at the next all staff. Any thoughts? Thoughts is thoughts. For you guys that want to do away with or do something different for Fuse, your small group leaders could actually get that link emailed to them, and you click on it, and in their small group they take attendance. And we have it in there who's in there. If you don't want to bottleneck out front and all that stuff, what's your name, how you spell it, blah, blah, blah.
How easy is it to add?
To add, it's supposed to be easy. It's just a plus thing and you add. And I don't know how, usually when we can add and people can add, it really janks the system up like immediately.
Right.
We'll have them in 2 or 3 times with a different spelling. I don't know. But as far as I know, add is easy from what I saw.
Okay.
Thoughts is thoughts?
I like Planning Center. Been looking forward to
Yeah,
this transition for a while.
Sounds very intuitive, smart,
Yeah.
easy from what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
so that's all good stuff.
Yeah, very user friendly. And most of our volunteers are already on it.
Now, Kim did send out an email wanting to know if we wanted to track what school they attend, if there's any value in that.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's
I would
huge.
think so.
And did you say that's how we can easily upgrade from like freshman to
Yeah.
sophomore?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
100% supposed to be very friendly to do that, track them through that. Okay. Anything cool? We had a rally, I know, at 48th. Anybody else have anything? Josh, you can start out and tell us about what's shaking bacon. And then if you others have anything you want to throw out on the table that happened that was cool, throw it out.
Yeah, the kind of working with kind of the best Sunday in the midst of 6 Sundays in a row that are terrible for high school students at 48th Street. And I kind of knew going into tonight that it would be a little smaller than usual, but it was a really good night. Zach Campbell did most of the legwork as far as the teaching, as far as he basically played in the whole rally and told me what I needed to do, which was nice. So I came up and I did the little interactive game that he wanted and did all the questions that he prepared and how that partnered with his teaching. And so it was nice just being able to kind of turn it over to him and let him run with it. I felt like he did a good job of grabbing a hold of what needed to take place. Some little coaching that needs to take place on his side when it comes to teaching. I think he did a great job of capturing it. A little more dynamic, but he is funny.
Mm-hmm.
He is the kids were soaking it up. And then I think the best part of the night is when we ended rally. I don't think any kid left for at least an hour, which shows for a really good atmosphere of kind of what kids were feeling when they were there. So I had to pretty much kick kids out starting about 8 o'clock. Most of them started naturally leaving by that point, but it was a great evening. Finally had this girl that's been trying to get baptized about every event and just never is committed, but after Zach's talk last night, she was like, all right, I got to stop being idle in my life, and it's time to make the decision I feel like God's called me to make. So that was a huge win out of last night, and a few new faces. So that's kind of how it was good. It was nice being able to. The only thing I really did for the rally was text a bunch of kids throughout the week, and then let Zach tell me what to do. So
I thought you had some food.
Oh yeah, there was food. A lot of cereal, which developers took care of that. If anybody would like a surplus of cereal,
Just not Fruity Pebbles.
please let me know. You can stop by 48th Street and go home with some things that'll feed your family for a month or two. But yeah, so we did a cereal bar and pizza because you gotta have, I guess, meat. That's my rule. You gotta have meat or unless it's not a meal. It's kind of.
So it started at 6 and you had like probably 10, 15, I didn't look, minutes
Yeah.
of hang, just,
6:10 we started dinner, and we start dinner, and this might be a culture that I've set in place unintentionally, or it might just be the nature of 48th Street. But we do dinner first because kids will never show up on time, ever. And so we start time was 6. Kids were hanging out, had stuff going. I keep the room kind of small. And then 6:10 we started eating. Then that eating time allows kids to kind of funnel in late. And then once we get done with that, we throw on the countdown or right into our session. It was countdown, student feud, right into teaching. And he brought up a student, kind of interviewed a student to kind of go along with everything, which I thought was really cool. Could have been a little bit more dynamic, but it was
They were
really
there.
good. Yeah, they were locked in.
I thought you had a room set up special.
In which regards,
I don't know.
yeah,
You had your big bulbs in there and you had your pipe and drape and you had your video screen and
yeah, very similar to worship at 7, but add in round tables. Little Youth Ministry 101 is, you're not going to have a lot of people, make the room filled up with something other than people. So, which is why the room was covered in tables, because it made the room feel like it was full. Like when the kids walked in, they're like, "Hey, there's a lot of people here." In reality, there wasn't an enormous amount of people there, but the room felt as if it were filled, just because of the way that they were set up and being able to engage in what was happening on the stage, for sure.
I thought you had a good atmosphere built with music playing. Did you have music playing at the start?
I had music playing.
And it was
so-
pumping?
Yeah,
And it was a good song list.
Yeah, I had music playing, a good old Faithful Crossing playlist, The Fresh.
Yeah, and the game had a lot of energy. Whoever was running sound was cranking that. And
Yeah, it was
the
Carson.
voice was cranked.
Yeah, he has no concern on volume.
Yep, he'll crank it.
Yeah, we did that. We ran through that about 4 times because he just kept messing it up. But he nailed it with his time.
Yeah.
He did well. Yeah. Anything else with me?
So what time, how long was you had the game, it was 8 minutes, and then you had the
30-second setup of Zach, and then Zach's teaching.
Zach's teaching.
Zach's
Is that
teaching.
it? Yeah, go ahead, I want it.
Well, you can go if you want.
Then at the end you had about an hour that they played and just hung and
Yeah, archery tag was a huge advantage to that.
she has a bruise.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, so you weren't lying when you said it actually hurt. Yeah, and archery tag's funny because there's some kids that shouldn't be athletic that can play archery tag, and none of you guys probably know who Josh Corshot is, but he's a kid, very troubled background, a lot of sexual abuse. He can't talk to people, but he was out there slinging arrows like he was Katniss Everdeen. And the whole time, man.
Not Robin Hood.
Yeah,
Katniss.
Playlist or something.
Yeah, Rob was old, man.
Not the new
It's
one
coming
coming
back.
out on the 21st.
I got to get educated with culture. But yeah, teaching was probably, I I told Zach to keep it at 15 to 20. I think he went more like 30. But it was good.
It was interactive. You had 2 blenders and.
Yeah, the whole time, like he did like a 5-minute setup and then like a 10-minute interactive with kids using blenders about how you spend each day and what that pours out in your life, and one blender was filled with a bunch of, it was kind of funny. He was very interactive with his teaching and his illustrations on how it related to the different food that went into the blender as far as being
He's a
bitter.
teacher, right?
Yes, special ed teacher. So he went in talking about an element where a kid was bitter, and so they pour vinegar in there. Talk about a kid was salty, so they put an out of envy, put salt in there. There's all kind of different. Or like he got angry, so there's hot sauce. That, classic youth ministry stuff. And then on the other blender, talk about somebody who was following Jesus on a daily basis and how that poured out fruit in her life. And so that was more of the fruit smoothie, kind of related to the fruit of the Spirit. So that's where he kind of partnered that. It was very interactive for 10 minutes, which made it where kids were hearing the illustration, but they also had got a lot of humor because he was just heckling the kids the entire time, which was
Yeah, he's
funny.
funny. He was good.
Which was the funniest part. And then after that, he kind of landed that for a couple minutes and then finished by interviewing a student and asking them what it looks like for them to walk daily in the pursuit of Jesus. And then we ended with that and had archery tag built up. It kind of set the stage like, hey, one wants to be a home where you can feel like you belong, so feel free to hang out. We'll throw the football on the screens, we'll have archery tag down in the gym. And then kids were either sat and talked or down slinging arrows.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in building community, so it accomplished that as well. It was really good. That's more than enough, Josh.
Not nice.
Okay, anybody else have anything that's happened in the last few weeks that they want to share?
No, we had a Rock the Block event.
Yeah.
Which wasn't just high school.
Mhm.
Which was getting my high schoolers to commit to something was like ridiculous, but most of them ended up showing up and taking part and stuff for like an hour or two, which is what I asked them to do. So that was neat, but the event was sweet for our community. It was about, we had this blocked off the street, so then we served food and we have inflatables and carnival games and petting zoo. And, everything's free. People drive by as I'm setting up and they just like, hey, how much does this cost? Like, it's free. What? Cool. And then they take off and stuff, and like word of mouth spreads. And so for our community, it's pretty sweet. I see a lot of kids from Berryhill and our different schools go through. So been about 2,500 people walk through this year. Last year was about 1,500, and just getting free food and getting to hang out, hopefully, and have a good environment. So our neighbors were excited, except two. Two were
Really?
excited.
They complain?
Oh, yeah, we know they will. So it's great. It's just a matter of when. But most other neighbors are great. They're excited and stuff. So yeah, it was a sweet event. It took a lot. It's crazy because you set it all up at noon, get it all on the street, and then by 10 o'clock, it's down.
Mm-hmm.
So just-
There's a lot set up there too.
yeah, so that was a lot there. Then we did food on the following day, Thursday after church, and invited families back to that. And kids ministries and stuff were full. So it was just it's a little busy last couple of days, but those are good though. I think they pay dividends in our community anyways.
Anybody else?
Yeah, we had a pretty big event too. We had a Halloween called Halloween Town. It was actually our high schoolers rallied. So every small group was responsible for a trick or treat booth. And so our small groups, if you don't actually see the video, but like we have different small groups in these booths. Like they would create kind of like an atmosphere. They could do whatever they wanted. Some had a game, some just passed out candy. But we're trying this whole semester to be all in for community stuff, and it was phenomenal. The event itself was gigantic. We would estimate 4,000 or 5,000 people went through, and we had businesses and it was in front of the school, and it was incredible. But our students did a really good job. They enjoyed being creative. Our small group leaders were awesome in leading that. Frankly, I didn't have to worry at all about anything that they did. I just walked around. We had like 6 different booths. A lot of students. It was really neat. We had, I don't know if you guys could envision it, but it was just a walking trail, and it just had environments all along the way of either passing out candy or playing a game. Had music, and there was free food and bounce houses, and it was pretty legit. So I think we're responsible for killing some of the trick or treats in town. I feel bad about that. Other than that, it was really good. So that part, and then we had our 10th anniversary on Sunday, and we had a huge Sunday. So I don't know if it was a combination of our event plus that, but we had over 700 people, which is a pretty good Sunday for us, and tons of kids, tons and tons of kids, which was our target. The goal was to early childhood, especially elementary kids, would come. We had a ton of kids, so that was great, which means they brought their parents, which is phenomenal. So it was a huge win. It was a good week for us, and it's a good week for our students. They did great, like I said. They enjoyed it. They really rallied behind that. Anything, I'm telling you, the trend I'm seeing, anything to do with our community, our students were like, heck yes, sign me up for that. So that was just another example of this week. So it was good.
Kickoff, I think, did a little thing.
Same thing, but we have discovered actually where I live is where everyone goes trick-or-treating. So we do a big event out there. This year, because of the rain, we ended up bringing like this huge tent, and we gave out, what was it, 1,300 hot dogs with buns and another 200 without buns because we ran out of buns. But we had over 900 kids come through, and then Thursday night we brought a bull, a mechanical bull that is, to our church, and that doubled our numbers for Thursday. And then Sunday we did a country breakfast and had a great attendance all around.
Is this all church breakfast thing, or?
Yep, it was in between services, and I don't know what the number of first-time visitors, but it was huge for this weekend. So
We did a rally 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Haven't followed up with Sonny yet to hear his thoughts on it, but I did it in the studio, which was awesome for us because it's the first student event we've had since our remodel. Worship was great. We had Emily and Carson leading worship, and did some songs that we did at student camp, which kids really loved and responded to. So that was a huge win. My talk was kind of centered around depression and just how we sometimes pretend like we're okay, pretend like we're one thing, kind of going with the Halloween theme, putting on makeup, costume, nobody really knows what's going on underneath all that. And afterwards, a girl, and this was probably the biggest win of the night, a girl who attempted suicide 2 or 3 years ago. She took over 100 pills. She cut herself up like all over, and has had to go through 3 different plastic surgeries since then, and it's still very visible. Went into a coma, shouldn't have been alive. Goes to Southeastern, where Olivia used to go to school, and she was there. She came up afterwards, and we started talking about her recovery, and kind of what led her down to that, and what brought her to where she's at right now. And it's cool to hear her story, because now she's moved from, harming herself, to advocating and reaching out to other kids who are going through the same things, or went through the same things that she did, and she's being their champion. And
Is she somebody with speaking ability for another campus to use?
She
a little
is
bit?
not yet.
Okay.
She can speak, and I want to leverage her story. That's something we did talk about, but I probably come across better
As an
as an interview.
Mhm.
It's an interview. So we're having those conversations right now, what that could look like. But man, it was just a God thing that she's alive. Like she's alive. It's a miracle that she's alive, and the fact that she came and she wants to help others who could potentially end up on the same road as she has is something cool that God's doing in her life as well. So that was some of the wins from that. We didn't go as high. We didn't hit the numbers that we were looking for that event. But so at first I kept thinking, when someone would ask me, I would naturally go numbers, because that's typically how I feel like we get judged is, how was this event? I feel like what they really want to know is how many students you have show up. We had 37 high school students, which isn't as high as we typically have, but there were still wins everywhere else, except for, it wasn't that high number. And so just seeing that and knowing that's what's motivating me is the new kids that we had coming. We had a lot of new kids coming, and the response afterwards. Like students were going to respond to the step, and we don't have one step. It's like this big from the floor. But students who never went to the step before, who are very new to church, were responding, were feeling moved, and that's a win. To know that there's a good chance that these kids, they needed to hear this message, need to know that there's hope, need to know that there's healing, and they can have a conversation that can start right now with any one of these adults in the room, or just talking to God and asking me to help give you the strength. So that was a win. So probably going to keep doing all of my student events in the studio and leveraging that space for ministry.
Cool. We're going to talk about Encounter and Merge. We'd like to be able to have time to come back and talk about rallies, a couple other things at the end. Jordan, tell us what's shaking and baking. I know you guys are in the throes of JTB. Do we need a work day where we come and help you guys? Or,
No,
how are things going? What's shaking?
JTB's going good. High school last week, we had a scavenger hunt, dress up day, so we had a bunch of kids dressed up in 80s gear, running all across Campbell, taking pictures in small groups. It was a big win for us. We saw a lot of growth, a lot of kids show up that haven't been there in a while. Our weekly ministry, I look at it, I love what Andre said. When we talk about success, we talk about numbers. That's just what we do. It's the easiest metric to measure. That's why we measure it that way. But the growth that I see in the 3 months that we've had on Sundays far outweighs what I saw in a year's time as far as growth since I've been in Hannibal, which I love that. So I know God's doing a work, and I know if we continue to follow Him in that, He will produce the fruit over time. And so I'm kind of in this just stay the course, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Kids are learning, kids are growing, small groups are growing deeper, and then continuously doing. Again, we're in the new fiscal year, which allows me to do more stuff financially, because I was in a negative, by the end of the year. And so this will allow us to do some more creative things to draw kids in. But we did see, when we did the scavenger hunt, we saw an extra 10 kids plus at that event, which was really good. So, yeah, when you're looking at it numbers-wise, I don't see it yet. When you're looking at it growth-wise, I definitely see it. And I think the numbers will come. We're seeing some new kids come and then start being consistent, which is really big. JTV is going good, one day at a time.
Mm.
It's always fun. It is a blast. It's a riot. It's fun to do it. It's good to see the community out there excited about Merge and what that means for our church. Excited for Encounter. Got some kids already signed up, so it's gonna be good. But yeah, that's
Cool.
what I got.
Zabel, you guys have a rally coming up this next weekend?
The
11th?
18th.
18th? Okay, good. As I was thinking it's 11th, and we're gonna ordain this guy on the 11th. So I was gonna have to miss it. Good.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, on the 18th. I want to have like a Thanksgiving dinner kind of thing for him. Because I guess Jamie said we've done it in the past, but he's like, you need to make it big. So not just the meal, but I'm going to try to incorporate my message along with it. I'm kind of started on it, but I'm far from finished with it. But I think we also we might have another guy come in and do worship for us on the rally night. It's actually a guy that Clint's maybe interested in with maybe Jacksonville. I don't know. It's just kind of a rumor going around, but he wants him to maybe do a rally and see how he interacts with students. Because it's like you can do it with students, you can do it with adults. You know, if you can get a student riled up in worship, I'm sure you can do it. So he might be coming to do it. I think his name's Connor. I met him a couple weeks ago. So he might be doing a rally for us, doing the worship part. I don't want to take away from Mike because Mike loved it. That was his first rally he's actually done himself. He did a great job last 2 weeks ago. He did awesome. But so yeah, we might have that guy coming in too. So it'd be different. It'd be good for the kids though because that's somebody else doing something else, a new face.
Mhm.
You know, they don't know what to expect so much.
Good.
So yeah, we're getting that plan put together and planned out.
Cool. Right, 18th. That's 6 probably?
Yeah.
6 bells.
6
All right, good enough. I've got other stuff, but I want to make sure we have time for Encounter. So let's start with that one. That's our first event, and then we'll talk about Merge.